The blind Bulgarian fortune teller tells you to beware of the year 2025. What you will see is unlike anything before. A war that humans have never seen before. Events that will change the course of humanity forever. After 3 years of this war, what is happening cannot be expected by humans before we decipher the code of this mysterious future and tell you the details. The year that could change everything. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. You are now living in the time of the beginning of the end. 2025 is the year that will be the focus of humanity's talk for the next century. The year in which the late Bulgarian fortune teller Baba Vanga predicted the beginning of humanity's downfall. Everything will begin with a major conflict in Europe. A conflict. Unlike anything witnessed in modern history, it may not only be a military war but an internal conflict extending to every aspect of life and the total destruction of social and political structures. The European population will face an existential dilemma: escape or perish. This spark will set off a chain of devastating events leading to a global humanitarian catastrophe. It seems that the conflict will not stop at the borders of Europe, but will go beyond it, leading to unexpected repercussions on the global level. Then there may be no safe place. If we want to link this expectation to the events currently taking place in the world, it seems that the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, or rather the Russian-Western conflict represented by Europe and America, is the most likely example to develop into a deadly nuclear war. Since the beginning of the war. In Ukraine in 2022, the West supported Ukraine. Russia, in return, repeatedly threatened to use nuclear weapons as a means of deterrence or punishment if it felt a threat to its existence or regional influence. If the current conflict between Russia and Ukraine escalates with the support of the United States and other countries, this could lead to wider tension in Europe. In the event of any nuclear confrontation or the use of tactical nuclear weapons, there could be massive destruction of infrastructure and population in Europe. The effects would be catastrophic on the European continent, in addition to the total destruction. Nuclear explosions will cause the continent to suffer from long-term environmental and health consequences such as radioactive contamination, food shortages, and the spread of epidemics. All of this could contribute to making Europe uninhabitable, which may be interpreted as part of the prophecy about the end of the world. The Western countries are currently considering supplying Kiev with missiles that would reach deep into Russian territory. In response, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who now holds the position of deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council, warned of the danger of this decision, saying that if it is implemented, how will it turn into a melting gray spot? Russian President Vladimir Putin said on September 12 that any change in policy that would allow the use of Western weapons in long-range strikes would mean that NATO would be at war with Russia. In June, Putin threatened to send weapons far-reaching in what he called an unequal response to areas of the world is in a position to strike countries that supply Ukraine with weapons after 2025. The prophecies of the Bulgarian fortune teller do not stop at the year 2025 only, but continue for hundreds of years to come. According to what was stated in Vanga's prophecies, after the outbreak of a nuclear war in 20025 and humanity's descent towards the edge of the abyss, man is forced to look away from Earth to search for new energy sources. In 2028, specifically, humanity will begin to discover the planet Venus as a new source of energy, and if you think things will improve then in 2033, it brings worse news as Baba Vanga predicted in that year the melting of the polar ice caps, which will lead to an unprecedented rise at sea levels. Communities will be left homeless after decades of environmental destruction and ongoing conflict. The year 2076 brings an unexpected change. According to the prophecy, communism will return this time as a dominant force spreading throughout the world as humanity enters the 12th century. The most bizarre and controversial prophecy comes in the year 230, which will be the year in which humanity will communicate with extraterrestrial beings. Perhaps this moment is the most anticipated in the history of humanity. Despite the contact with extraterrestrials, human problems will not be solved. Global drought will be the new challenge in the year 270. Dry lakes, dead seas, people searching for water to continue living. In this scenario, environmental conditions deteriorate to an irreversible point. Hundreds of years have passed, and now we find humanity in a direct confrontation with another civilization, this time from Mars. Yes, it will enter the Earth. A cosmic war with Mars. Perhaps man will have colonized the red planet by then, or perhaps a Martian civilization will have suddenly appeared to threaten our survival. This war will not be just a battle on Earth, but will be a struggle for survival between multiple worlds. In the end, humanity will reach a point where it is no longer possible. Earth can no longer support life. In the year 3797, the end of Earth as we know it will be, the planet that was a foothold for human civilization will become uninhabitable. Finally comes the most mysterious and threatening prophecy in the year 579. The world will end. No details about this end, but it carries within it a comprehensive and final meaning, the absolute end of everything. The blind fortune teller Baba Vanga, also known as Vangelia Pandev Gotshova Vanka, was born to a simple family working in agriculture at the beginning of the 20th century, a period that was full of political changes and conflicts in the region. Her father died at an early age, and her mother suffered from extreme poverty during her childhood. Vanka was a normal child until she was exposed to an accident at the age of 10 that changed the course of her life. At that time, Vanka lost her sight in an unnatural storm, while she was playing outside, and according to the stories, a storm rose and threw her into the air to fall to the ground covered in sand and dust. After the incident of losing her sight, Baba Vanga began to claim that she had supernatural powers as she began to see future events and receive visions about people's fates. This attracted the attention of many in Bulgaria and abroad, especially with the accuracy of some of his alleged prophecies, are said to have come to him from all over the country to consult him about their future and personal matters. In the midst of World War II, Vanka's popularity began to spread widely, and it is alleged that prominent figures, including the Bulgarian Tsar Boris III and the Soviet leader Leonid in Geneva, they asked for her advice. Baba Vanga is famous for a number of prophecies, some of which are believed to have already come true. Among the most prominent of these prophecies are the death of Princess Diana and the sinking of the Russian submarine Kursk in 2000. After her death in 1996, Vanka became a subject of interest for writers and novelists around the world, and her home in the city of Petrich in Bulgaria was transformed into a museum dedicated to her memory, where people come from all over the world to see where she lived and hear stories of her prophecy.